question isn't whether Kamala is ready for this moment, because by every measure, she has demonstrated that she's ready.
Well, some would disagree with that. Some would disagree that she has not proven that she's ready. And then on top of that, the fact that nobody had a chance to vote whether they thought she was credible or not. She was just kind of placed in that position. And that's something that people strongly oppose. And so I don't think that she's demonstrated, and I think a lot of people will agree that she hasn't demonstrated that she's ready for this job. And I mean, how do we know that she's capable of doing what needs to be done when she's still in office? She is vice president. The things that are happening now with all of these immigrants, these wars, all of this stuff that is going on, people are opposed to this. People are not agreeing with their politics.
Interest at heart. So I want to address some of these concerns head on. Because when you lay out the options, this choice isn't even close. But whether it's online or in the media or in our social circles, there are folks who say they're not sure about Kamala. They accuse her of not providing enough policy detail. Some wonder, do we really know her? Is she too aggressive? Is she not aggressive enough?
Well, she don't answer questions. She hasn't really laid out a policy plan that makes sense to me. And I think she doesn't answer. She has a certain set of answers. She's answering in a political way. She's not really giving us details of what she's going to do and what her plan really is. How is she going to secure the border? She just keeps deflecting and going to Donald Trump. Well, if you want to beat Donald Trump, then we need to know, what are you going to do that's different from what he's...
We'll cut the red tape that stops homes from being built and take on, in addition, corporate landlords who are hiking rental prices. And we will work with builders and developers to construct 3 million new homes and rentals for the middle class, because increasing the housing supply will help drive down the cost of housing. We will also help first-time homebuyers just get their foot in the door with a $25,000 down payment assistance. Because the goal is clear. Let's help more Americans afford to buy a home, which we know is a critical step in their ability to grow their wealth and intergenerational wealth. We capped the price of insulin at $35 a month and the total cost of prescription drugs at $2,000 a year for seniors. And just yesterday, we announced that we are lowering the price by up to 80% for 10 more life-saving drugs. Pledge to continue this progress. I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone with your support, not only our seniors. And demand transparency from the middlemen who operate between Big Pharma and the insurance companies who use opaque practices to raise your drug prices and profit off your need for medicine. There is, first of all, a danger in terms of understanding, there are two choices in this election, and understanding what Donald Trump intends for middle-class families. Two, look at it in the context of how he actually thinks and talks about black folks in America. And you and I have talked about this before. He is not looking out for folks when he was a landlord and would not rent to black families, sued for it. When he took out a full-page ad in the New York Times against those 5 teenagers, black and Latino, who were innocent, saying they should be executed, the Central Park 5. When you look at the first black president of the United States, and he had birther lines, and now you look at black immigrants, legal immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, and he gets on a debate stage and says they're eating their pets. Come on. This man is dangerous. Not to mention Roland. Let's fast forward to right now. His staff won't let him do a 60 Minutes interview. Every president for the last half century has done one, anyone who's running for president. Everyone has done it, except Donald Trump. He will not debate me again. I put out my medical records. He won't put out his medical records. And you have to ask, why is his staff doing that? And it may be because they think he's just not ready and unfit and unstable and should not have that level of transparency for the American people. There's a real choice in this election.
Visiting us in Delaware County, Vice President Harris. My question is this. If you could accomplish only one major policy goal that required congressional action, what would it be and why?
Well, there's not just one. I have to be honest with you, Carol. There's a lot of work that needs to happen, but I think that maybe part of this point that how I think about it is we've got to get past this era of politics and partisan politics, slowing down what we need to do in terms of progress in our country. And that means working across the aisle. I've done that before. We did it around whether it be what we were able to accomplish with the bipartisan infrastructure deal or some of the work that we have done in terms of dealing with gun safety. But we've got to work across the aisle. And it is my commitment to work with Democrats, with Republicans, with independents to deal with a number of issues, whether it be what we need to do in terms of housing and creating legislation that creates incentives for that, what we need to do to reinstate the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do, whether it be what we need to do to actually invest in a substantial way in the industries of the future, in American-based manufacturing, in American-based industries where American workers and union workers have those jobs in a way that is good-paying jobs that gives people the dignity they deserve. All of those areas I plan on working across the aisle and with Congress, including the issue of immigration, which we've got to fix.
As a dean of students, and he works with our young people every day.
I'm from Philly, born and raised, Uptown to be exact. I've been in education for 10 years. I started off as a teacher's assistant in a school in North Philly.
Only 1% of teachers in public schools are black men.
Yeah, for sure.
1%. The statistics are if a black child has a black teacher by the end of third grade, they're like 13% more likely to go to college.
To succeed.
Wow.
Yeah.
But to go to college even. And, part of actually my focus and agenda is what we've got to do to create incentives, which really are not necessarily incentives in terms of the will, but also we don't pay teachers enough.
Right.
Student loan debt is an issue, and thinking about how we create incentives to actually recruit and retain, because we know the benefit to overall society, and in particular to our children.